Brothers in the Wind. In a small town in the heart of America, there was a veteran named Jake Wolverine Dawson. After serving in the Marines for over 2 decades, Jake had retired from active duty and settled into a quiet life in his rustic cabin on the outskirts of town. His days were spent riding his motorcycle, a beaten-up Harley-Davidson that had been with him through thick and thin, and sipping coffee in the local diner, where people didn't ask too many questions. One chilly autumn evening, as Jake was leaving the diner, a group of bikers, some of them young, others looking to relive their rebellious youth, sat in the parking lot, revving their engines. They wore matching leather jackets adorned with skulls and flames, a gang marking their territory. Their leader, a bulky man with a deep sneer, had a particular disdain for anyone who didn't fit into his idea of what a biker should be. As Jake approached his motorcycle, the leader stood up and swaggered over. "Hey, old man," he sneered, eyeing Jake's worn-out jacket. "What's a dinosaur like you doing out here? You lost or just a little out of place?" Jake paused, assessing the situation. He had dealt with bullies in different forms throughout his life, but these guys were something else: cocky, loud, and itching for a fight. "Just heading home, son. I don't want trouble," Jake said, his voice calm and steady, the way it had been in countless high-stress situations overseas. But the leader wasn't satisfied. "Oh, we've got trouble now," he said, gesturing to his gang. "You've got a lot of nerve, old man, thinking you can just roll in here with that crap." He pointed to Jake's faded jacket and weathered bike. The gang laughed, and one of them revved his engine in a mocking imitation of Jake's ride. That's when something inside Jake clicked. He wasn't just some old man. He wasn't just some retired vet. He was a warrior, someone who had fought for this country, who had lost brothers, and had earned the right to live with respect. But more than that, he had brothers who would stand by him, no matter what. Jake pulled out his phone. He didn't need to speak anymore. Within minutes, the sound of roaring engines filled the air, distant at first, then growing louder. The gang of bikers looked around, confused. From the horizon came a line of motorcycles, each one decorated with military patches, and the distinct hum of powerful engines that had seen the harshest terrains. These weren't just any bikers, they were his brothers in arms. Out of the crowd of riders, a man in his mid-50s, tall and grizzled, rode up to Jake. His leather jacket was emblazoned with the insignia of a veteran's chapter, and his face was weathered by time, but his eyes were sharp. His name was Sam, Iron Horse to the brothers, and his presence was magnetic. The leader of the biker gang took a step back, sensing the shift in the air. "What's going on here?" he asked, trying to maintain his bravado, but his voice faltered. "This is Jake's town, and you just made a mistake," Sam said, his voice low and measured. The other veterans in the group revved their engines in unison, a sound that could have been straight out of a war zone. It was a declaration. The leader sneered. "What? You think a bunch of old men can intimidate us?" "This is our turf, old man." But Jake had no intention of backing down now. "You don't get it, do you? These men," Jake gestured to his brothers, "have been through hell and back. We don't just ride together, we fight together. And we don't let anyone disrespect what we've earned." For a brief moment, there was silence. The younger bikers, sensing the unity and experience radiating from the group of veterans, began to shrink back. Their leader, not one to back down easily, puffed his chest out and took a step toward Sam. "I've got friends who I don't care who your friends are," Sam interrupted, his voice rising like thunder. "I've got brothers who've given everything for this country, for freedom." "You're nothing but a boy playing games on bikes," the leader hesitated, his confidence slipping. The roar of engines, the unity of Jake and his brothers, and the unwavering truth in Sam's words began to get to him after a tense pause. The leader finally muttered, This isn't of Jake smiled, a smile that didn't hold any malice, just the wisdom of someone who knew what real battles looked like. It's over when we say it's over. You can ride away now and count yourself lucky. With that, the gang of bikers mounted their bikes, slowly pulling away. Jake and his brothers didn't flinch or wave goodbye. They stood tall, their silence louder than any threats could ever be as the night grew darker. Jake clapped Sam on the back. "Thanks, brother," he said. Sam nodded, his eyes scanning the horizon. "It's what we do, Jake. We watch each other's backs." Always, and as the group of veterans roared off into the night, their bikes cutting through the wind like the thunderous drums of war, the town once again knew who truly ran these roads, not the punks or the bullies, but the warriors who had earned their place in history. And, as always, the brothers would ride again when one of their own needed them.